Can my room please stop being so bright? Because we've been on call now for 15 minutes, and my room is so bright, it looks like I'm about to cook.
Is it natural lighting that's going on?
It must be natural lighting. I mean, if I turn off my ring light, I look dark in a light room. So it's not my ring light, it's literally just the... It's just the sun. The sun is too bright.
Or something?
Yeah, and it's shut. I don't know how it's getting in.
What?
And we haven't decided what the next episode of the podcast's about. What are we doing the next episode?
Our favourite episodes, our starting episodes, our least favourite episodes.
We're not giving James Corden. Do you know, my mum was listening to these episodes and she was like, "Wow, he's really got a thing for James Corden."
No,
that was one thing she said when she was listening. I was like, "You think so?" She was like, "Yeah, he keeps mentioning him all the time." I was like, "Does he?"
No, that's just clickbait.
Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, the show where two YouTubers get together and talk about Doctor Who. My name is Troy, also known as Red Archer Live. I am one of your hosts, and with me today is the Australian fellow who said he was going to live stream this week and hasn't, because he's great at dedicating himself to projects. It's Crispy Pro. How are you doing, buddy?
What an epic intro for me.
What
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Wow, you're going to have to get some water for that burn, mate. Oh my god. Do you want to explain why you haven't done the stream you said you were going to do this week? Because it was for a very good reason.
It's a great reason.
It's a great one.
Look, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'll definitely stream this week. Put it on my calendar and made it for a Wednesday night, and little did I remember that that's when we've been recording these. So I was like, oh, maybe I won't stream tonight.
Yeah, so it's A, great for dedication to the podcast, but B, worrying that he forgets that's when he records these podcasts till the last minute. You can tell how much he enjoys recording these, you know?
You gotta lose some, you know?
Oh, God, I can tell you're just cruising through. We're barely going to make it to episode 10 at this point, mate, honestly. It's disgraceful.
It's
I will say one
now.
thing, though. Oh, it is. I will say one thing. We have got episodes planned already up to episode 9, ladies and gents.
Woo!
So, and we've also got other ideas we haven't put down for episodes, but we already know where we're going for the next few episodes. We've got
what I say to that?
With a plan.
Podcast with a plan, baby.
I beat you to it. I saw it coming. Before we get into the news and questions, we do have a very important apology to make. You know, sometimes YouTubers, they do things wrong, and they've got to apologise for things, and it can be a very serious issue, and for this, we're very sorry. In the previous episode, talking about 60th anniversary theories, we discussed that we would like to see a series of singular stories with different doctors, and it all coming together to face the Cybermen. We made the great apology of saying that this has already happened in comic media, as Minusich pointed out to us on Twitter, via a TikTok he made, and then liked himself, which I just thought was quite funny. But in that video, he pointed out that there was a comic series called The Lost Dimension, or no, it wasn't, it was Supremacy of the Cybermen. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Where the same thing happens. Multiple doctors get together in their own comics and then team up to fight the Cybermen. What's worse about that is I own a signed version of that graphic novel and have never read it. So I own it and forgot that was the plot of it when we were talking about it. So yeah, so it's unlike... they could try and do something that happened in the comics before, but they will probably avoid it. So we may have goofed on that little...
done goofed. But you know what I say in response to that? Podcast with a plan.
Podcast with a plan. Exactly.
Podcast with
exactly.
a plan.
Now, we've got a few bits of news to talk about. Okay, so Crispy is going to take us through a couple, but I have got one small thing for the Spotify listeners out there. You might notice, if this is all working according to plan, that this episode of the podcast is in video form. So when you're watching on the Spotify app, you should be able to see the video the same as you would be able to see on YouTube, which is a new feature we got emailed. It was like, hey, you've got early access to this, which I'm kind of salty about because my old podcast hasn't even had an invite for this yet. But you know what? It just shows that we're doing well on here, and that's what makes the difference, okay? So we're trying this out. Podcast with a plan. So when you're watching on Spotify and the Spotify app is open, you should be able to see the video is playing, but you have settings in the Spotify app I've checked to turn off video podcasts when you're not on Wi-Fi. So if you're on the go on data, you don't want to lose your data, then it won't download the video, don't worry. And also you've got a setting you can click so when you download things so you can play them offline, it won't include the video. So that's all accounted for. And also, if you are listening to the podcast and Spotify isn't open on your phone, it's in the background, it won't stream the video, it'll just do the audio. Okay, so a couple of things, because when I heard this, I thought, hang on, that sounds like it's going to really be bad for your data. You're fine. You're absolutely fine.
It should be
so
okay.
Give it a try. Yeah, let us know what you think, because we can retroactively go back and add the video to the pre-existing episodes. I think we're just going to try this one and see what you all think. And if we don't get any complaints, we don't get any pitchforks and torches, I'll go back and retroactively replace them. Because I've still got the master files for most of them, and the ones I haven't, I can just download and re-upload. It'll be fine. It'll be all good. So that's just a little thing for Spotify viewers out there. So they're not the only... YouTube are not the only people who are going to be watching the video version now. They can't escape our faces. And
No.
to everyone listening on Apple
You
Podcasts,
poor things.
wow, you got an iPhone, you can't see us on video. Wow, that's so epic. I'm joking. Thank you. You're literally like half of our listenership on audio
Thank
platforms.
you.
Please
Thank
don't
you.
leave us.
Yeah,
Please don't leave us.
We love you. Okay.
And
We
we've
just
got
love you.
100 estimated audience, by the way, which is very
We
cool.
got it. To 100, baby.
Very
Thank
epic.
you. Thank
you all for listening.
you.
Please keep listening and fuel our egos. But speaking
Thank
of
you.
egos,
yeah.
let's talk about some news. That has nothing to do with egos, so it's a pretty bad segue. But Crispy, you've got some news to tell everyone about. What is the news, my friend?
All right. So we have some interesting news. There's nothing quite major this week, but just a few little sprinklings from around the Hooniverse. You ready for this?
I'm very ready for this.
Apparently, supposedly, hypothetically, not hypothetically, this is happening. Series 14 has definitely gone into pre-production. Thoughts? Questions? Questions, queries?
What makes you say that?
Oh,
Cite
I'm
your
glad you asked,
sources.
Troy. I'm glad you asked, Troy.
It's not, dude, trust me. What is your source, Crispy? What is your source?
So, my source is a Twitter user by the name of Ibi Abdi. I believe William, who regular listener of this show, did share a tweet, did share Ibi's tweet. And the tweet basically says, thank you to Screen Alliance, Bad Wolf TV, for inviting myself and the learners down to the studios to speak to the new crew who are organising the new Doctor Who series. Great day, and also nice to speak to the crew face-to-face to get an idea of what career paths to take. This seems like a very innocent tweet, someone talking about their day, someone talking about their awesome day, but of course, us Doctor Who fans have put on a little Twitter alert for any time the mention of Doctor Who is on that site, and we've all gone, oh, this person has met the crew of the new Who.
Like pigeons swimming for breadcrumbs. Like we hear they get the tiniest hint, and then boom,
The
we're on it.
teeniest.
We're on it.
And then it's a headline. So apparently, yeah, Doctor Who is well in production now, which you'd think they've cast the next Doctor by now because of this.
Yeah, I mean
Right?
they must have done because we've already talked about it on this show.
They
We know
have
it's going to
to
be
have.
with the next Doctor is going to be who? Who's the next Doctor going to be? Who did we
James
decide
Corden.
on in the end? James Corden.
It was
exactly.
James Corden.
Exactly. It's James Corden.
So we're very happy with that. Very happy
the
with
James
that choice.
Corden Doctor. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, every time the TARDIS lands, he opens the door and just goes, "It's the Late Late Show."
It's the Late Show.
Also, no one corrected me, so I'm guessing that is the right theme. I still
That
haven't
has
gone
to
up
be
and
the
looked it
intro.
up, 'cause
I'm pretty sure
I'm
that's the
not-
intro.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes. But that's
but
not
yeah,
the only
so-
news we've got, is it? What else have we
No,
got?
that is not the only news we got. Our home slice, Catherine Tate, appeared on a program. I'm not sure what program it was actually.
It was
because
the one show. It was the one show.
I'm getting. Hang on, Troy. I'm getting word that it was the one show.
Wow, how did you know that?
We have a couple producers at the back.
Yeah, we do.
Paul's actually interning with us right now.
Paul's interning with us now. Yeah, he loved the show so much. We gave him a role.
He was
to just
he was a
assist
big
us, yeah.
fan. So yeah, she appeared on the one show and was questioned about the 60th anniversary and if she had any involvement. And she basically said, "Huh? What? No, not me."
Doctor Who's still going? No.
Doctor Who's still going? What? I stopped watching after Tennant.
Yeah, honestly.
So, no, and then she was like, "Oh, if they've got the money, I've got the time." So, I genuinely think it was a real response because she kind of looked like she had no idea, like no mention of any 60th anniversary had been passed her way. So, I don't think she's returning, which is sad because that was the heavy rumor that her and Tennant would be returning for the 60th in some way.
was.
But then again, she is also an actress. A woman of the arts.
She's got a movie coming out.
So
the Nan movie is coming out in like a couple of weeks' time or something. I
what?
think.
She got a movie?
Yeah, you know how she has that. Have you seen the video, like the show, like she like played an old Nan and she got loads of celebrities on and just did loads of comedy sketches and stuff. There's a film for that.
I know what
I think
exists.
it's about
I didn't realize
to
it
come
was a
out.
movie. Wow.
And I didn't realize it a couple of weeks ago, but she's coming to Wales Comic Con, which is now in like 2 weeks' time by the time you're listening to this. So it's going to be another great episode there because I've decided I'm going to be going for both days of the Comic Con this time, which is going to be mental. But Catherine Tate's going to be there, as well as David Bradley. So I've signed on to meet both of those. Well, I haven't signed on yet because I can't afford it. I'm getting some money because I got a job now. Your boy's a tutor. He's actually making some money for himself now. Would you believe
Making
it?
that money.
I'm going to meet them. But yeah, so I'm wondering if she's gone to the Comic-Con more for that reason, but because David Tennant's there, they were like, oh, we'll do some duo photo ops and stuff with them, which I haven't bought, like I said, because that was too expensive. We're not going
Way too expensive. That's a lot of tutoring, my friend.
It is. Because I think I mentioned she was going to the Comic-Con last week. I can't remember for sure.
You did.
But I'm thinking because I've now since found out she's doing this Nan movie, that might be why she's trying to be a bit more at the Comic-Con to try and get people to be like, ayo, Nan
Get some
movie.
promotion.
Scope it out. But I mean, let's not forget that when Doctor Who was filming in Liverpool for Flux, everyone went mad because Catherine Tate was also in Liverpool filming for, like, I think a Netflix show she's doing that I think is also about to come out soon.
I think they just announced that yesterday, where she's also playing multiple
everyone
characters.
was like, oh, she's in Liverpool? She's in Liverpool? Is she filming Doctor Who? Is she in Flux? And everyone went wild predicting it, but no, she wasn't.
It's Netflix.
It's Netflix.
You got bamboozled.
It's much better than Doctor Who. No, it's not. It's not. But
no, it's not.
It would be great for it to come back. It would.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have no information
likelihood?
confirming that.
I don't think it's going to happen, my friend.
Honestly, I think Catherine forgot about it the way Donna did.
Oh,
Yeah, can we talk about how I had the best comment in your video? You didn't say it was the best comment, but I thought it was. Crispy did a video about the most forgettable episode of Doctor Who, and he was reading from his Twitter replies, as he often does, because he's a very original creator. And he was looking through everyone suggesting, what's the most forgettable episode of Doctor Who? And my amazing response was, well, for Donna, I'd say the most forgettable episode was Journey's End.
And that's a mic drop moment, everyone. And
it is a mic drop moment.
Drop
and I'm very proud
moment.
Of it.
That was a very good tweet.
Someone I know, Scout, replied to underneath, and he was like, I had to think about it for a minute, and then I realised, it's like, yeah, I forgot about that, and I was like, so did Donna. She forgot as well. It's like, give me ammo, give me all that ammo, give me it.
Oh no.
Beautiful.
But yeah,
beautiful.
That's all the news. There really isn't much going on this week, which is all right because we get more time to talk about the things we love, like Doctor Who cliffhangers.
That is true, but you did forget one piece of news, tiny piece of news.
Oh wait, no, my bad. It's actually it's a very small piece. It's about yay big. That's very good for audio listeners. It's big for someone
like me who likes to spend money. Do you like to spend money, podcast listener? Do you like to collect needless things, podcast listener? Then you'll love this next piece of news. Because I think about a year ago, or 2 years ago, or a year ago, I don't know how long ago it was now, but it was announced that there was going to be a new trading card collection for Doctor Who that was not NFTs. It was not online stuff, because that Worlds Apart Doctor Who game, the amount of times I see it advertised on my Facebook feed and all the comments are, why is this not physical? And I'm like, we're looking at physical in the future. No, you're not. Stupid thing. But they are actually going to be releasing a new physical, non-online trading card collection for Series 11 and 12 of Doctor Who. Now, I'm just bringing up the page now because this was announced ages ago and was meant to be coming out in late 2021. That came and went, so there was no information. But a page is now updated. If you Google Rittenhouse, Rittenhouse, Rittenhouse Doctor Who trading cards, you'll probably get the page come up that I'm looking at right now from gogcs.net. And it basically has a big load of details about a trading card series that, on further inspection, is coming out in May. It's got all sorts of different things in. You can get, like, autographed cards, which I think are, like, one of the, like, embossed ones. They've done those before with the Monster Invasion series. But if you're into trading cards, I just thought I'd put that on your radar, because I certainly am, and I'm very excited to just buy boxes of these things and probably put them on a live stream or something, because I no doubt will. I'll just, buy loads of these. The moment I have some more money again after Comic-Con, it's going to be spent on trading cards. I live the best life. Yeah. I live the best life. I have no concept
look at your room, mate. Look at your room compared to mine.
This is why.
Not great for audio listeners, but still.
When I get money, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just spend it. It's how it works. I don't know why I'm Danny Dyer now. I was trying to go for an Australian accent, but it didn't really work. Now I'm like,
it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
Between Danny Dyer
to different
and
accents.
Pro. Yeah. Danny Dyer and Crispy Pro are just two sides of the same coin, They're just two sides of the same coin. But that is all the news. I just thought I'd mention that for anyone who's into trading cards. Probably everyone going, oh, great, Troy's got another reason to spend money. I know, I'm so predictable. I'm disgraceful. But just very quickly, before we move on to... We've got one... I think we'll answer probably one question just to kind of keep to runtime this time.Maybe two if we're quick enough. But I just wanted to address the poll and Q&A from last episode, because I wanted to just, see where everyone's heads were at. And ironically, further cementing how bad our idea was for the 60th anniversary, because we're the best podcast ever, I did a poll saying, who do you think is most likely to be the main villain of the 60th anniversary? And your options were the Master, the Daleks, the Cybermen, or none of the above, because I wanted to make sure there was kind of some options there. 8 people voted, and according to the poll, 3 people said the Master, 3 people said the Daleks, and 2 people said none of the above. Which means that the Cybermen was the only option in the poll not to get a single vote. So we are finger on the pulse. Finger on the pulse.
Finger on the pulse. Podcast with a plan, baby. Oh my gosh.
It's
ridiculous.
It's disgraceful. It is disgraceful. I am ashamed of us. I think we've done a terrible job, and we will try to improve. Which leads us perfectly on to the Q&A for this week. So you'll see on Spotify, as always, you've got a Q&A and you've got a poll. The poll is something I decide just during the editing because I'm, super up to date. So you'll see the poll with whatever question comes out of this episode that I think is best to ask you guys. But then the Q&A is related to next week's episode. Now, Crispy had this amazing idea because he's a great YouTuber that, I always I love rinsing your content and just saying that you just don't do any good videos. I love your stuff. So I want to clarify that.
I know you do.
Crispy is a friend. He's not just putting up with me for this. Like, we are friends somehow. Somehow he puts up with me. But he came up with the idea and he kind of said, what if we did some Doctor Who quizzes and had a little bit of a laugh? And I kind of laughed off the idea and I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. We're going to look at BuzzFeed quizzes. And we had a look through and we actually found some decent ones. So I think we're going to talk about news. We're going to answer some more questions next week. And then just as a bit of a chill episode in between all of our theorising so we can give our brains, our grey matter a bit of a rest, we're going to do some Doctor Who, BuzzFeed / other quizzes, that kind of thing, and more Q&As. So for the episode Q&A, I want to free it up this time, and if you've got any questions for us, just like usual, throw them our way. And if you happen to have a particular BuzzFeed quiz that you've seen, you want to have a little Google and think this one would be fun for them to try out, feel free to throw one our way and let us know. You can link it us on Twitter at Who'sThereDW. Instagram is at Who'sThereDW as well. Finally going to do some posts on there soon. Said we'd do those last week, and I haven't. Whoops. But he has sent me his stuff for the meet your host posts, so I can do those soon now. But we can do that. YouTube comments, Spotify Q&A, all the usual stuff. Throw whatever questions you have at us, and we'll do a more chill episode next week before we roll into the episode after that, which, ladies and gentlemen, we are planning to watch the TV movie together and then talk about it in the podcast. So the next one, that's excited. Why we're thinking ahead. Because when we do that, I feel like it's going to be better if we just get pretty much straight into talking about that for the hour. Because if we bog it down with 20 minutes of questions and things like that, we're not going to have as much time to talk about the movie. It won't be as fresh in our minds. So it's better to get more Q&A stuff next week. So the week after, we can just go TV movie mad, to plan.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. Yeah, podcast with a plan, baby.
Throw us whatever questions you've got about us. If you've got a particular quiz you want to see us answer, I've no doubt there'll be a bit of a laugh there. So feel free to hit us up and let us know.
Do it, please.
Exactly.
I'm begging you.
So before we roll into our favourite cliffhangers, let's take one, maybe two questions from the audience, okay? Because we've got some comments we want to read with regards to cliffhangers, so we want to keep audience input going up. But let's pull out one more question. What's one more question? We've got two here, Crispy. Do you have a preference as to which one we answer? Because we can answer the next one.
Second one.
Next week, but the second one? Okay. So at Go Doctor Who 1, or Connell, how do I say your name? Connell? Probably, probably Connell.
He's a YouTuber as well. He's quite good.
He is. Oh, yes, he is. I recognise him now. I'm only looking at the username in Discord. I didn't really see the profile picture. Yeah. So he has asked, if you could change something from the Doctor Who canon, what would it be and why? Hang on. Hang on, let me get ready for this. The Timeless Child.
Timeless Child.
No, seriously. Yeah, you gotta say it. You've gotta say it for the meme. You gotta say it for the meme.
We're both very on board. Well, mostly on board with the Timeless Child idea. So.
Well, I'm on board bar one thing, which have we said on the podcast?
The Doctor. But no, you said it in your stream the other day. But yeah.
I did. Yeah, Crispy was watching my stream at like 5 a.m. Me playing Minecraft. He sent me a picture of him just watching it on a giant projector.
You make it out that I'm such a bad friend. Nah, I wake up early for your stream. No, I don't. I make it out you're a bad
YouTuber. Don't get confused. You're a bad YouTuber, not a bad friend.
Sorry.
God.
It's all confused in my head.
Oh. Yeah, you should come and check out my streams on twitch.tv/RedarchLive. Thanks. I really appreciate that.
And subscribe to Crispy Pro on YouTube.
Subscribe. Give me money. Give me money. Yes. I promise I'll give Crispy some of it.
Maybe a little.
I was crossing my fingers. No. But no, the one thing I would change about the Timeless Child, if it were me, and it's probably a point that a lot of us share, is that it should have been the Master rather than the Doctor.
Yeah.
I think the concept itself is fantastic. I do like what it does to the Doctor and giving them, the fugitive Doctor and some interesting opportunities there for... It just changes the lore up. The lore was, sometimes the lore plays it a bit too safe, and, it's nice for the continuity to be shaken up a little bit, I think. I've been on 100%. Both sides of the argument.
I know. I can see it right now.
But
I can see you thinking right now.
I really like it now. Yeah, I'm like, it's good. But I just think... It's the Master destroying Gallifrey that clinches it for me. It's like, why would he kill every single person on the planet? Never mind that it ruins the 50th anniversary, because we only went to Gallifrey once in a storyline properly since it was saved, and now it's just destroyed. But, would you not just kill the High Council? Why just the proper Time Lords? Why every Gallifreyan? Set a bit on fire
or something. It's a lot of people.
Just because he has a bit of the Doctor in him. If you said he was the Timeless Child, he'd want to destroy all of Gallifrey, I'd go, you know what? Fair. He's psychotic. Fair. That's something he would do. But it just seems like it feels like a bit of a stretch. So I would have liked it to be the Master, but I'm fine with being the Doctor. Do you have anything you would change?
Yeah, no, I made a whole video on the fact that I think it should be the Master. So I think...
Do you have anything separate? Anything else?
Separate? Anything original?
separate?
I don't do original
Anything
content. What are you on about?
He's embraced the meme now. He's aware that he's not original at all. What can you do?
No, I literally, I'm fine with it. I just hope we get some answers in the centenary.
You got a problem with saying it like that, Crispy?
It's the centenary, mate. G'day.
No, it's
I'm
not.
from Australia.
That's 10 in it, and it's not 10 years.
The centenary, mate.
It's not a centenary, mate. It's the centenary.
Where are you getting this teen thing from?
I'm just sad that I'm not a teenager anymore, that's all.
Oh, same. We're
Yeah,
old.
honestly.
What happened to us?
I realised the other day, I was like, wow, if people say the best year of your life is when you're 21, and I thought, what happened to when I was 21? I was like, oh, that's right, I spent my entire year locked away in the house because of a pandemic. That was fun. My 21st year of life was so action-packed. It was so great. You know, one morning, I got up. One morning, Crispy, I got up, I had some breakfast, and I played on my Xbox all day. And then another morning, get ready, I got up.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
I had some breakfast, and I played on my Xbox all day. And then another day, I got up.
No.
And I put my Xbox on first. And then made some breakfast, and then came back on playing Xbox.
Switching it
You wouldn't
up.
believe it. It was a crazy year. It was a crazy year.
Oh my God,
it was honestly,
that's mental,
it was
bro.
wild. It was wild. You know,
Wow.
great. It was such good fun. Speaking of good fun, though, I think we should move
brilliant
on to the main
segue.
topic of this episode, you know? We're only about 20 minutes into the recording, so we're better this time. We're not taking up the whole episode with questions and news and things. We're getting better at our jobs.
We're doing all right.
Slightly better.
We'll narrow
Slightly
it
better.
down eventually.
But what we're going to do is we were talking about different ways to talk about our favourite cliffhangers, you know, because we've got cliffhangers you guys have submitted to us. We've got ones that we both have personally. I suggested, why don't we just kind of have like a top ranking of our favourites? And Crispy just went, nah, mate, just pick out our favourite ones and talk about them until time runs out, you know? And you know what? There's something to be said about that, about just talking about, well, not winging it. Don't make it sound like we're completely effortless. Don't make it sound like we're completely effortless. But I think what we'll do is we'll bounce between each of us. We'll pull one from me, one from you, one from the comments, and just adapt it from there and kind of go crazy from there, you know? Because you've sent me a bunch. You sent me a bunch, mate. I'm trying to scroll past all our Discord messages.
I've sent you 3.
All sorts of stuff. You sent me 3 from YouTube. Yes. And then we've also got a couple on the episode Q&A on Anchor from Spotify. So I can see a couple of those. So we've got a few we can mix up.
We'll keep going back. We'll just keep going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So, Crispy, do you want to open us up? If you had to pick your favourite Doctor Who cliffhanger, your favourite one, or just, even if it's not your favourite one, the one that stands out to your mind immediately, what would it be?
Well,
Go.
this isn't necessarily one that stood out to me immediately. But when I was thinking back, I was like, oh, wow. This one, like, genuinely took me by surprise. Because when a lot of people think of Series 10 and cliffhangers, a lot of people think of the ruined surprise of John Sim returning, which I'm sure we'll touch on.
Which we'll no doubt be
later.
touching on shortly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But in that series, the Doctor was blind for 3 episodes. And so at the end of Oxygen, I was shocked that they actually kept that, because I was like, oh, cool, like the Doctor's going to be blind for an episode. How difficult's that going to be? But then I genuinely had no idea that they would continue that as a plot point. That's ballsy. The Series 10 is very underrated in my opinion. And I feel like because it takes risks like that, like, you know, I don't know. It's a bit of fun.
Series 4 and 10 are 2 of the best series of the whole show. I'm just saying it right now.
Amen.
But do you know what was weird? And it's slightly unrelated to the cliffhanger, but there was one thing that was kind of odd about that cliffhanger of Oxygen. There's 2 different versions of it. In the sense that, not necessarily in how it ends, but how it's recorded. There's the last line from Capaldi, the penultimate line, is where he goes like, I can't look at anything ever again. There's 2 different recordings of it. And I think it might be different on like the Blu-ray to the iPlayer to like the TV broadcast or something. Because I've heard both, and it's confusing. And I don't know if anyone out there can relate to this, and you might remember it, but there's 2 different ways he says it. One way is he kind of whispers it. He's like, I can't look at anything ever again. And there's another way where he goes, I can't look at anything ever again. Like there's 2 different recordings.
I remember the second one.
Yeah,
I remember the second one.
There's 2, and I think if I remember actually, I'm trying to think, because like I said before, I do like Doctor Who watch-alongs in my Discord server, and if I remember rightly, I might be getting this wrong, but I actually think it's a different version in the cliffhanger of Oxygen to the previously in Extremis or Extremis.
No
I actually think it's
way.
different between those 2.
I am testing this theory as soon as we finish the podcast.
Do you know what? I'm testing it right now. I'm going to jump ahead in the podcast.
Do you want me to riff?
But I'm gonna go. No, we always cut it out. Or you can riff if you want. But I'm gonna listen right now. I mean, it's not gonna pick up the audio on my computer because I've only got it playing my mic. Do you want to riff while I do this real quick? Do you want to riff? You riff. I'm looking this up right now because this is a stupid continuity factor that I'm looking up right now. Okay.
No, you need to look it up. So while Troy is doing much needed research for this podcast, I would like to sing for you a rendition of my 2014 hit, I Heart the Doctor, which eventually led to me meeting Capaldi. So I hope you enjoy. And Doctor Who is such a crazy show. All of time and space is where you go. And there is something you should know. That it is awesome. I think I was a lyrical genius. What?
My checking is finished. It's the Whisper in both versions. It's the Whisper one in both versions.
No. This is
and
some
you remember
alternate
the loud
timeline
one,
stuff.
so that proves it.
I remember the loud one. I've never heard him whisper. Never heard him whisper. He
Look
always
it up on
says,
BBC iPlayer later. You can found it.
What?
I found it. Okay.
My gosh, we are onto something.
If you search "The Doctor is Still Blind" on YouTube, that phrase, the top 2 results for me, it might be different for you. There's one video from Stuart Seyfried, and one video from Sub2 Richie Reviews, okay? I'm shouting them out purely because these are the ones that have got the videos that I need. Stuart Seyfried, his clip ends with the Whisper version. And Sub2 Richie Reviews, his clip ends with the shouty version. So go and listen to them both. I'd play them on the podcast, but I'd be worried we get done for copyright. So go and play them and give it a listen, and your mind has been blown. Which is a massive side note from favourite cliffhangers, but there you go.
No, that's crazy. No, that's more impactful than the actual cliffhanger just then.
The entire episode of our
That's
podcast.
Going to stay with me. That's going to stay with me for the rest of my life.
I don't remember when I first noticed that, but it blew my mind. I was like, damn, what they took to take to this. What, do you know what's going to hurt your head even more? Do you know what's going to hurt your head even more? Okay.
Okay.
When I heard these two, there's one question in my head that I'll never get the answer to. Which one was the original take and which one was dubbed over? Because it's still the same clip. You look at them side by side, it's the same video clip. So one is the original take and one is the dub. Which one is which? No. Have fun having that in your mind for the rest of time.
Mate, I'm supposed to go to work tomorrow and have a productive day. And I'm just going to be staring at my computer, looking at Capaldi's lips.
I have
as I usually
like this in a long time. Oh God! Well, that's copyright for me. Well, great. I'm getting sued. Whoever made that song, I'm really sorry. I don't even know his name. Whoops. Someone can correct me, and I'm going to have no taste. But should we talk about cliffhangers again? Should we talk about cliffhangers?
Yeah. Let's get back on track. We've left the people on a cliffhanger.
You've pecked. You're a chicken now. You've pecked oxygen. So now I've got to peck something else. I'm going to peck a different cliffhanger.
It's a pecking order, mate.
I think our regular viewers kind of know where I'm going with my first cliffhanger because I've kind of been pulling and teasing at it for a little bit, which. There's definitely better phrases I could have used than that, but we
absolutely
get the point.
No, keep it up.
Definitely better ones. But do you know that's the thing though? There's some things I'm not good at. Okay, I've never been good at like segueing into things. I've never been good at sprinting. You know, I was the last one in every race at school. So
no, you're not. I read your file. It said you're a champion sprinter.
Oh, got me. Well done. Yeah, you got me there. Do you know what I love? And this is why it's better to watch the video podcast. There was a moment when the cogs started turning in Crispy's brain, and he went, "Oh no, I know what he's doing now." It took him a second, and when you clocked it, you nearly gagged on your drink, and that was hilarious to me. So thank you for that entertainment. But
good.
now, in case it's not obvious, one of my all-time, if not my all-time favourite cliffhanger of Doctor Who is Spyfall Part 1. Now, a couple of things to preface this with. For me personally, one reason it stands out to me is because, as I said previously, when I first watched Jodie Whittaker's era, I liked Jodie Whittaker, wasn't hugely into the stories. It felt like such a jarring depart from Capaldi, and it's what I've said before, rewatching the era separate from still hurting in inverted commas from Capaldi leaving, it makes you appreciate it properly for what it is. There's always that constant problem with Doctor Who when an era changes notably, like you go into a new thing, it's completely different. It's hard to adapt sometimes.
Yeah,
but for me, I was still going through that where I was like, you know, Jodie's good, but I'm not really loving her stuff too much. And this cliffhanger came out of nowhere. And I could not remember the last time in Doctor Who a cliffhanger got me this much, because the last one that was really exciting, which we'll get to, was the one that was spoiled with John Sim. Before that, I don't know what the biggest cliffhanger was. Maybe Heaven Sent for being on Gallifrey. I don't know, though, realistically. Probably the Missy cliffhanger of Series 8. And if that's the case, that is 6 years prior to Spyfall Part 1. So it would have been a while since a big cliffhanger. September 2014 versus January 2020. So 5.5, or just under 5.5, but in actual numbers, 6 years.
Yeah, jeez,
so,
wow.
It had been a while since I'd had a cliffhanger that had truly made me go, what? And I remember even posting it on my private Instagram story and being like, I'm so excited. And I knew no one who looked at my story would care, and I didn't care at all. No. Because there were leaks. There were leaks that I did not see,
Neither.
I'll tell you now, if the leaks came out again, I'd probably see them, because my phone decided to ping me the spoiler for the end of How I Met Your Father Season 1 yesterday, which is not even in the UK yet. I was really excited for that show, and they delayed it to May, and they were like, here's a news article right on your phone, we're just going to throw in your face with the title. You can't even flick it away fast enough for you to see, so I know how the series ends. That's great.
Well,
but the point being, because
me.
of my phone being a pain in the backside, I know, it's a great little thing at the end as well, which makes me really excited, but either way, there were leaks that came out that Sacha Dhawan was rumoured to play the Master, and somehow completely passed me by. Did you know about those?
I heard that he had been cast in Doctor Who, but everyone in the comments was just kind of saying, "Oh my god, what if he was like the Master and stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, we just had Missy." I would like completely disregard that.
Yeah,
and that's what and then when it happened in the episode, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're actually going to do this."
Yeah, but I just never saw it coming. I never even thought about it. I didn't even consider the Master would come back that soon. Didn't even cross my mind, as it didn't for most people, no doubt. But I hadn't heard the rumours, so it was completely out of left field. I didn't even know Sacha Dhawan had been cast. I know I've seen him. I know he was in An Adventure in Space and Time, which was the 2013 docu-film that explained how Doctor Who came to be. David Bradley played William Hartnell as the show was being set up, all that stuff. Sacha Dhawan was one of the controllers for the programme. Do you know what his character's name was? I can't remember.
I could not tell you, but I'm pretty sure.
But he was fantastic.
He's brilliant in it.
And I can't remember her name. Who played Verity Lambert? Whoever played Verity Lambert, she was brilliant as well.
She's good though. Is she the girl
cast was brilliant.
Oh, she's in Doctor Who as well in some episode, I swear.
She was in Doctor Who. Yes, she was. She was in Hyde. She was in Hyde.
Oh, look at us
go.
She was in Hyde.
Yeah.
God, we're good.
See, she can't hide.
We should have a Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, she can't hide from us, can she? I had to say that twice. I just want to make sure you heard that pun.
No, I got it. I got it. Don't worry.
Good. But Sacha Dhawan is a class act. He's a fantastic actor. And it was like the way a switch flicked in his head that just completely got me off guard. And as soon as, I don't think I got it immediately, and I didn't realise till afterwards. Again, I don't know if we've talked about this, because we're on episode 5 now. We're going to have things where we talk over, but I didn't realise during the episode that his house flying outside was the TARDIS. Had no idea.
Of course not, because we didn't know the context yet, because he's all like...
and if they pointed it out again afterwards and kind of made a thing out of it, I might have gone, oh, that's his TARDIS, but it was flying, and then afterwards the reveal happened. So you'd almost kind of forgot that there was a house flying outside because you were too busy going, oh my god, Sacha Dhawan is the Master! What?
Yeah, literally.
Literally. It was such a cool moment, and Jodie Whittaker really got to flex her acting chops there, like the way she was she played as being so shocked and everything, and then there's just Ryan, what's going on? He's not really What's going on here?
Huh?
I think the best one was Graham though, being like, call you what?
Call you what now?
You? What? Call you what, mate? What are we calling you? But just that whole cliffhanger, and the way he just starts screaming and everything, he's a very manic master. He's the most manic master we've had. He's like John Sim, but turned up to 17.
Absolutely.
And in that scene, I was almost like, he's fantastic. And honestly, I've said this before, but Sacha Dhawan might be my favourite master. That might get me attacked from some people, but I love all three of them very, very dearly. I love all three of them so much. But
there's
more than
three. We gotta just get that out there in the current.
There is,
era.
but this is coming from the classic Who. The classic Who non-watcher that I have not seen nearly enough of it. Oh, also Derek Jacobi. Can't not count Derek Jacobi. Out of people who've had main episode runs in the modern era, Sacha Dhawan might be my fave. Yes, I think there we go.
I can't even. I don't even think I've begun to rank them in my head, so I won't.
And there's also one other music thing. I could point out a music thing if anyone wants to get music thing again. Go on, just because I like pointing out these things. No one else seems to notice this, but this is just me. I feel like a bit of the Spy Master theme sounds like Kylo Ren's theme from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, I think someone did a YouTube video on that, comparing the notes. I will send it to you.
Because I spotted it almost immediately at the time. Because his theme's kind of like dun 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 dun, and Kylo's like dun 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 dun. Like they're very similar.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Ignoring the fact that I got the first note completely wrong, and we'll probably have cut that out in post. But they're very similar. Those
just
four notes have a
similar
similar progression. A similar progression, and it works. It just works.
It is very good.
It is very good. I really like it. But that's my first pick for Cliffhanger.
Brilliant.
So now let's turn to the comments. Let's pull one out of the comments. Let's bounce around. We're good with this. Do you want to pick a number between 1 and 3?
2.
2. The Upteenth Doctor commented on the YouTube version of episode 4 of Who's There, Doctor Who podcast, and he said, my favourite cliffhanger is the end of Bad Wolf, where Nine declares he's going to rescue Rose, save the world, and kill the Daleks. To be fair, best Ninth Doctor moment, probably. That's that
it
scene.
Epic. It is so cool. What a two-part finale. Oh,
it's so good. The way Christopher Eccleston like shows like all of his different acting abilities in one scene. Like the first they're like, we will talk to the Doctor. Oh, will you? That's nice. Hello. And then like at the end of it, it's like, I'm going to kill every last Dalek. I'm going to wipe every last stinking Dalek out of the sky. And it's like the way he like goes. Dead. It's a 180 or 360 almost. He's spinning around in his personality, and it's so good.
Sensational
so
performance.
good.
Sensational performance. And what a cliffhanger. Well done, Upteeth Doctor. That was a good one. I completely forgot about that one too. The power that he has in that cliffhanger is brilliant, and just the realization that it's the Daleks. I can't remember watching it for the first time, because like I said, I started with Series 3 and then caught up on 1 and 2 before Series 4 came out. And I can't quite remember how, as a kid, I reacted to it being the Daleks, because I knew I'd seen that one bit of like a Dalek ship on the TV when Series 1 originally aired and just thought nothing of it. So I'm not sure if it was a surprise to me that the Daleks came back in that episode. I can't remember it being a genuine cliffhanger shock to me. And I remember you saying that when you got into Doctor Who and you were like watching old stuff, you just bought random DVDs and just like jumped about at first. Like you watched The End of Time was one of your first things you said. The End of Time was one of my first episodes. I got that from the State Library.
Absolutely phenomenal. You watched James Corden, then you watched David Tennant die.
I like the cover. Mm-hmm. That was my order. How am I still in love with this show? None of it makes sense to me.
Just makes you cry, you know? It just makes you cry. Lots of
It
crying
does make me cry. It does make me cry.
But we can pull a question, another comment, I should say.
Yeah, okay,
and talk about this episode, because we're going to do this anyway. We know it's coming. So, See Crazy Me 3113, nice little rhyme in the username, commented in the episode Q&A on Spotify, the end of World Enough and Time. None of that was spoiled for me, so it was great.
Good for you.
Good for you. I'm so happy for you. That sounds so
happy,
sarcastic
mate.
And so disingenuous, but I truly mean that. I am so happy for you that wasn't spoiled. And what's great is when you watch reaction YouTubers watch it and they didn't know about it either. That stuff is great. Like I used to watch a guy, if anyone knows, Failwell34 is the number at the end of his name. He was big, he got really big on Doctor Who reactions. He had like Doctor Who commenting on some of this stuff and things.
I actually do know who that is.
Yeah, his reaction to World Enough and Time, he basically just doesn't say a word, and he's like is just emotionally just drained. Like it's John Sim, doesn't like, say anything for like the rest of the episode. He's just like, what on earth is going on? Reactions to that are amazing. That, and I love watching Blind Wave. I love watching those guys. I think they're great. I've actually just got into watching one of them play Mass Effect on Twitch.
Oh, it's like that hat you're wearing. It's like that hat
It is like that hat I'm wearing. Isn't that cool? Yeah, we're bringing it back to the hat. Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, the hat that you thought was from GTA and many other games that you just randomly threw at me when you didn't know it was from Mass Effect. That's funny. But that's what makes up for it. Looking at reaction content, that's the point I was trying to make before I got sidetracked, as I always do. Watching reaction content and kind of thinking, that could have been us if it hadn't been spoiled for us. The BBC.
I wish it did.
BBC.
Do you remember? Do the things that you do? Do you remember how that all happened initially? Like it was really strange.
I didn't know this, but I think you mentioned it. Was it something like it leaked out in the Sun and then BBC went?
There's so many weird things. So there was a screening for the pilot, I believe, a press screening, and then at the end, they played a trailer, but
for coming soon on the series,
Yeah, it was like that, but it even had a countdown for the spoiler in the trailer. Like when they showed everyone at the screening, they had like spoiler in 3, 2, 1, and then it was Johnson. Yeah, apparently I'll send you an article because I remember reading this at the time because I didn't know what the spoiler was, but they said massive spoiler in the coming soon trailer, and then a couple days later, the Sun reported, John Sim's back, and then we saw the trailer at the end of the pilot, and like, well, that's great, isn't it?
It's so stupid, like the way he announced it. It's like the same. Well, that's what I annoy about people who go to watch these screenings and then like announce things from them ahead of time and spoil it for everyone. It's like when Eternals came out. I know not everyone likes Eternals. It's one of my favorite MCU films. I just love the vibe of it, to be honest. I think it's just completely wildly different. But I remember when they did the press screening for that, and one reporter just came out as soon as the press screening had finished, days before the film released, and was like, Harry Styles playing Thanos' brother in Marvel's Eternals, and everyone was like, what? Excuse me? What? Harry Styles? What? And then everyone knew it going in. And I mean, it would have been a wild reaction. You get all the One Direction fangirls being like, it's Harry Styles! And everyone else going, it's Harry Styles? For the record, I'm on the fence. I feel like Marvel have got their casting right most of the time, so I feel like they probably made a good choice and we just won't know it till we see him in action. But stuff like that irritates me. I don't get why people feel like... Obviously, it's for clicks, and it's to draw people to what you read. Obviously, that's why. But why do you do that, knowing you're going to annoy so many people? Do you just not care? Like, why?
I don't think they care. They'll see, oh, wow, this post got 100,000 interactions. Awesome. That is good for me.
And as a reminder about the fun of that episode, watching it with my mum, my lovely mum who watches these episodes with me, if you haven't listened to the first episode of the podcast, go and listen to it, because you'll hear the story again. And just, get to know us, because we're very annoying, and you get to hear all of our annoyingness. Nice Darth Sidious there.
Do it.
But the one thing I will say is, watching that episode, I would not have seen John Sim coming. Obviously, I knew he was going to come into the episode. I knew he was going to show up in the series. We were drawing towards the end of the series. But Mr. Razor, the guy that John Sim's disguised as for all of World Enough in Time.
Hello, my dear.
As soon as he... Wow, that was good. Hello, my dear.
Know.
Yes.
Hello, my dear.
Yes. He'll never set you free. Not when he realizes what you did to his little friend. I haven't done anything to his silly little friend. Oh, but I'm afraid you did a long time ago.
Do you like disguises?
They happen to be rather necessary when you happen to be someone's former prime minister. Yeah. It's such a great cliffhanger. However, as soon as Mr. Razor came on screen, the thought that it was John Sim didn't even cross my mind. But my mum, in very much the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood film I've not seen that I desperately need to, Leonardo DiCaprio pointing me and went, "That's John Sim." That's John Sim in facial prosthetics. I went, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
That's him right there. And I looked, and as soon as I looked properly when she said that, I went,
"Oh,
it is, isn't it? It is. That's John Sim. Why have you said that? Why have you said that? She Gucci'd me." And that's a term that I mentioned in the first episode of the podcast. And you know what? Just so we don't retread over every ground, you can go and listen to the story of her Gucciing me in episode 1. It's not her buying me loads of expensive stuff, I promise.
No.
Okay? We're not pretentious. But there's a story there. There is a story there. I'm going to leave it as a nice little go and watch our first episode. Haha. It's got the most views on YouTube and most listens on Spotify, so I would hope everyone's heard it.
It's a banger. It's a banger.
It's a banger. Go listen to it. But yeah, so she knew it immediately. I didn't clock it. I don't know if I'd have clocked it going into the episode later. I think I probably would have realised once they had the Missy and Master face-off, because obviously we knew John Sim was coming, and I probably at that point would have gone, hang on a minute, that's John Sim.
That was when I realised, as soon as that conversation started getting weird, I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. How did I not see that coming? So
yeah, that would have been me as well.
But then, if there wasn't that freaking announcement and the trailer, I would have thought nothing of it. I'd be like, why is this guy being weird? Why is this guy being so strange?
It's so
but anyway,
irritating.
Whatever. It's awesome for the time, and I now have the privilege of showing that to my friends when we do Doctor Who watch-alongs for the first time.
That's very true.
I get to live through their reactions, just much like watching the other reaction
with
YouTubers.
Friends. Or, or maybe when I'm looking for someone to date or make a Tinder profile, I'll try and find someone who hasn't watched Doctor Who and would like to watch it, then I can watch all of like her reactions to Doctor Who, and then just live vicariously out of that, as you say, Yeah. I love that. When you said that, live vicariously through me, that's stuck in my brain. I like that. Live vicariously through someone. It's a very nice term, vicariously.
We live vicariously here.
The Australians got better English than the Englishmen. Disgraceful. Can't believe it. I'm letting my country
Bloody
down.
crazy, mate.
But I mean, I don't even drink tea, so I'm hardly British anyway, so who cares?
That's all right.
Do you drink tea? Are you a better Brit than me?
No, mate, I just drink shrimp on the barbie.
Moving on. Let's talk about another Doctor Who cliffhanger. Let's move on. So we're back to you, Crispy.
Yeah, come on.
What other cliffhanger would you like to talk about?
Oh, you ready for this one? You ready for this?
I'm ready for this one.
This one was one of my first jaw-dropping moments in Doctor Who. This is when I started really getting into Doctor Who. Started telling all my friends about it. A lot of people at school were talking about this. The end of... Oh, which episode is it? I think it's The Almost People when it is revealed. The Rebel Flesh.
Oh no, Almost People. No, I know which one you're going
whichever
for.
Whichever the second one is, yeah.
Yeah, Almost People. I know where you're going now. I thought you meant the first part of that two-parter, but no, you don't. I know what you mean now.
That changed me. And I recently rewatched it with one of my housemates because she hasn't seen Series 6 before, so I was like, oh, you've got to. It's one of my faves. And that, the end scene when we find out that Amy Pond, in fact, has not been with us since around the start of Series 6 and is, in fact, a double ganger. A Gunga. Threw me. Absolutely threw me. I was like, oh my gosh. This series does not mess around at all.
It has one of Matt Smith's best acting bits in it as well.
Yeah. What you're talking about, the scene where he had to Sonic Amy?
Well, that and no, just when he kind of like he's telling Rory to go away, like stand away from her, and he's like, you know, you need to trust me, you need to do this, and you need to stand away. And I was like, oh my god, okay, all right.
It's brutal. I love those. I love like Matt Smith and Arthur Darvill have quite a good dynamic in that sense, because it kind of reminds me of The Girl Who Waited, the end scene where it's like, Rory, it's your choice, mate. What do you want? You can either live with this Amy or that Amy. And he's like,
that's such a great episode. Oh,
also
God.
A brilliant episode.
Brilliant. What's so good about that one is I remember that being one of my favorite Matt Smith episodes. Then when I was doing my rewatch in like 2020 and I was getting through, I was like, this isn't quite as good as I remember it being. And then like it's the last 10 minutes that do it. It's the last 10 minutes of the episode that are the crazy.
Like a train.
From roughly about the love speech right up to the end of it, it's just like peak Doctor Who. It's
flawless.
so good. It's so
oh
good.
my god.
It's so good. But yeah, that's a great cliffhanger choice. I like that because Series 6 is a series without many cliffhangers. You know, Series 6 kind of was like, well, I have a couple of cliffhangers in the first half of the series, and then after that, we'll kind of just do away with them. You guys don't like cliffhangers. We'll get rid of cliffhangers. It's fine. The last two episodes, we have James Corden in a pyramid in the middle of wherever it was. Where was the pyramid in the middle of? It was in the middle of a city, wasn't it, or something? No, it wasn't.
Was there a
no,
pyramid?
it was just a train. It was just a train into a
spaceship.
pyramid. Yeah, the base was inside the Great Pyramid, where Madame Karaya was being kept. It was inside a pyramid.
Oh wait, sorry. I thought we were talking about
it was a pyramid at the end of the world. Yeah,
nice.
You know.
Nice.
No, that was in the
dude.
Wedding of River song. I'm bouncing about in my brain. You know, I'm bouncing about.
No,
in my
sorry.
brain.
I thought we were still talking about closing time, and I'm like, what? Where was there a pyramid in that? But no. Sorry.
No, just the last two episodes was like, that's
when you
all,
talk about James Corden, it takes me a while to process anything other than James Corden.
It takes you away,
okay?
doesn't it? It does take you away.
Oh, nice. Is that another Doctor Who reference?
Is that another Doctor Who reference in a Doctor Who podcast? Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Who would have
honestly?
thunk it? Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk?
Who's there? A Doctor Who podcast.
Stream now.
Streaming now. But yeah, Amy not being real is one of my favorite podcasts. Cliffhangers. I'm losing it. I am tired, bro. Come on.
Oh my god.
Let's keep it going.
Matt Smith is said in the episode is like, you need to look at all these other Doctor Who podcasts and you need to stand away from them. You need to only listen to ours.
Oh gosh. I would listen to Matt Smith do a podcast shouting at me for years.
But the next cliffhanger that I want to talk about, I'm stuck between actually. I've got two. They're both Tennant ones. In fact, honestly, all three of Tennant's main series cliffhangers could be talked about here. But I don't know whether to focus on, firstly, Utopia. Sound of Drums, kind of, but more Utopia. And then also Series 4 with Turn Left and also Still on Earth. Both of those cliffhangers were phenomenal. Where should we start? I'm taking two.
Look, I don't even know. I forgot about.
Do you want
to
to claim one of them, and that could be your next pick?
No, I've got a few more. I've got a few under my belt.
About 10 minutes left in the runtime, and we've got a few more. We're going to have to start.
We're just going to smash through them. We're going to smash through them. Let's do them.
Utopia was amazing purely because the Master reveal. I had no idea who the Master was, and it was my first series of Doctor Who. So seeing like the big reveal being tied back to Face of Bo being like, you are not alone, and seeing U-Y-R-A, not N, alone, A, Yana, Professor Yana is the Master. The realization of all that happening at the same time, that's just ridiculous. And then the energy of John Sim as he bursts onto the screen in Regeneration, he is phenomenal. He's great. I love Derek Jacobi. There's one program I've loved him in. There's a comedy that if you never watched, you should. It's called Vicious. It's only had a couple of series. It's about him and Ian McKellen are an old gay couple that basically just are constantly taking the mick out of each other. That's it for a whole plot. And it's fantastic. It's very dark humour. But you can get the box sets, I think, somewhere. But it's honestly fantastic. It's such a good show. That's why I love Derek Jacobi and McKellen together. They're a great pairing. But that whole cliffhanger was phenomenal. But Series 4 for me, first off, the Daleks coming back. I mean, because by that age, I still didn't know about the whole every year the Daleks have to show up at least once thing, so we must have known it was coming, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But when Donna says that Rose said bad wolf, and David's face as he runs out and everything says bad wolf, it doesn't make any sense in some ways. I guess it's like a warning for the TARDIS. It's very confusing. It's one of those things where it's confusing, but you don't care because it's epic. You're like, why everything says bad wolf? Why does everything say bad wolf? The TARDIS
but the music's
says bad
so
wolf.
good, it's just dun,
the
dun,
inside
dun,
of the TARDIS is red. This isn't good. What's going on? Yeah, it's just, that music. Oh, what is it, Doctor? What's bad wolf? It's the end of the universe. It's like, that whole thing. And then you have the events television that was the 10th Doctor regenerating.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the UK did not shut up about that afterwards, there's never been a moment Doctor Who like it.
I would have loved to have been a fan in that time. I would have loved to have
there was a
witnessed
close
that.
thing. There was a close thing with the next Doctor when they already revealed that David Morrissey was going to be in the next Doctor actual episode. I'm like, so are you actually the next Doctor? And people were talking about it, but it didn't come close to everyone being like, who's the next Doctor going to be? Like, they've just jumped on and there's going to be the next Doctor. What are they going to do? Is it going to be Tennant again? Are they going to bring someone new in if they snug it? Because I don't think, had they announced Matt Smith by this point, I don't know if they had.
Not at all.
I don't think they had, but I don't know for sure. No, I don't think they had, because the National Television Awards happened.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He announced he was leaving in 2009. At the start of 2009, he announced he was going to do some specials, and then when Doctor Who returns in 2010, it won't be with me.
It won't be
with me. He said that,
me.
I love how he had the balls, to say that. I don't even like saying have the balls, 'cause it's kind of a weird phrase, but the way he had the bravery to be like, you know what? I'm just going to say, while I'm accepting an award for Best Actor, that the role I got Best Actor for, I'm leaving. I'm going to say it live on TV in front of everyone. And the way the crowd went, no! Everyone lost it. But that cliffhanger, I remember Sylvester McCoy being on one of the UK news channels in the morning on Monday, getting interviewed, being like, what do you think of this cliffhanger? And he's like, oh, well, I think it's very good, blah, blah, blah. And can't the Doctor only have 13 lives? Isn't he running towards the end of his lives now? And I remember him saying something like, oh, I think he'll just wave his magic crystal ball of and they'll work some way around it or something. I remember him saying something like that. He's like,
which they
he's
almost
such a chill
did.
Guy, Sylvester.
Yeah.
He's so chill.
He's a nice guy.
The energy he possesses is just, it's beautiful. He's a very chill man. But that cliffhanger will never be paralleled. I don't think, ever.
No, that's
just for the impact it had.
A massive one.
Shock factor for me, Spyfall is close. Maybe in some ways because of what it means to me after it being so long without a cliffhanger, maybe better in that sense because it was so shocked and so out of nowhere. But for event television, the best cliffhanger of Doctor Who, I think it kind of has to be that one for the impact it had on the audience.
Yeah, I can imagine that would have been massive.
Thing.
A cultural shift.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents. So what other ideas have you got, Mr. Pro of Crispy? What else have you got for us?
One that I love, and we can kind of almost end on a wholesome note. Was the introduction of John Hurt at the end of Name of the Doctor. That took me by surprise.
That. I thought you were going to go down the Missy direction, but that was...
no, I mean that cliffhanger also took me by complete surprise as well.
The problem is with an episode like this, there's so many we're not going to mention that everyone are going to be really annoyed about.
No, let us know in the comments,
we probably should do another one of this in the future. But
yeah, 100%. A follow-up.
We understand. But yeah, so John Hurt being revealed, that was just confusing for me. I didn't get it. Yeah, I was like, how is he the Doctor?
I didn't understand it too, but I was like, oh, they're doing something. They're doing something.
And I love John Hurt. I've said this before. I loved him. The thing I knew him for most was in Merlin. Hurt. Have you ever seen Merlin?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It was kind of like the Doctor Who winter replacement almost. It was another family show that was set in Camelot about Merlin and dragons and knights and wizards and all that stuff. And John Hurt played a dragon that...
Yeah, he's the dragon in it, that's right.
For most of the series, wink wink,
what?
Was locked away in a cave and would talk to Merlin. Did you not see the whole show?
No, I mean, he used to.
Have I just spoiled that for you? That at one point he is not in the cave anymore.
We used to watch it occasionally. It was quite big here in Australia. So, but no, I remember him being the dragon now. That was quite a big part of the show.
Yeah, and his voice was just it's just got the most iconic voice.
Iconic voice.
There's no other voice like that out there, and he was brilliant. I loved him as a dragon. So when he was in Doctor Who, I was like, it's that guy with that voice. I love him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was kind of it stood out immediately, and he was absolutely fantastic. But it was the lack of understanding at the time, being like, hang on, he's not the 12th Doctor because Matt Smith hasn't regenerated into him, but he's just stood there. How does this work? He was the first fugitive Doctor, ladies and gentlemen. He was the first fugitive Doctor. No, he kind of wasn't in a way. He was a fugitive from himself.
Oh wow, we're getting deep this episode. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just love how most the most annoying thing about him to most Doctor Who fans, which is what Christopher Eccleston said at one of the Comic Cons recently, was that it annoys kind of the people for numbers' sake. You know, you've got 7, 8, War, 9, and it's like. Yeah. I get it could be a bit jarring, but I mean, now that we know there's loads of Doctors before William Hartnell, does the numbering system even matter anymore? You know, I think it matters more about the number on our screens. You know, the number on our screens is the number and nothing else. You know, I mean,
nothing else.
Clara does literally say to Matt at one point, "You're number 11," but that's by the by. So
that's fine.
It's by the by. Plus, he literally applies with it. Are we forgetting Captain Grumpy?
We're forgetting Captain Grumpy. Yeah.
Actually, but I think that almost sounded like Matt Smith.
Really?
Is that Matt Smith in the hit Marvel movie Morbius coming out in a couple of weeks' time? And then they said Morbius then.
Morbius? I haven't heard of that film.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. Well, most people haven't heard of Morbius at this point. I think everyone's given up waiting for that film to come out. It's been delayed 7 times. I'm so excited for it. Like I'm one of those people who likes Leto's Joker. He's not my favorite Joker, but I saw the potential in him and did actually find him quite interesting and just wildly different.
I'm surprised he went back to a superhero property, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. But I think it's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to Morbius and Matt Smith being the main villain. I knew nothing about him. Then I looked up Morbius on Wikipedia, and now I know a bit more about his character. And I kind of wish I hadn't looked it up because now I kind of know where it's going to go. And I
didn't know that he was the villain, so now you've spoiled that for me.
You didn't know he was the main antagonist?
No, all you see in the trailer is him like walking mysteriously.
I know, this is what I found so baffling, is that like I remember it being announced like right at the start he was going to be the main villain, and one of the reasons he took the job was because Karen Gillan went, do Marvel. Marvel's great. Like he rung her up and asked her, and she was like, do it, even though he's doing Sony's Marvel and not Disney's Marvel, but whatever, by the by, it's still Marvel, it works. It still works, just about. But that was what was so baffling, was that in like all the trailers, there's that one shot of him walking down like an underground station, and that's it. Doesn't really sell the antagonistic vibes, does it?
No, they're very much like focusing on the origin.
So what's the plot? Morbius. Is it that he spends 40 days in the desert and then comes back out the desert and then realizes that there's a vampire pandemic going on, or how's this going to work?
Nice reference, reference there.
I still find that so funny. I have no problem with Jared Leto, but I still find it so funny that he just tweeted that out about. If you don't know, we'll give you the context. It was about COVID. He said like something like he spent, was it 40 days, or am I taking that from Noah's Ark?
It was an extended period of time.
30, 40 days. He spent an extended period of time in the desert, off of social media, off of everything, as you do, obviously. And he came back and was like, what's COVID? What's going on here? There's a pandemic? What? I can imagine that would have been really jarring. You're just coming back into the world and you're like, everyone's wearing masks. People are staying distant from each other. Did I miss something? Is Rise of the Planet of the Apes becoming real life? What's happening here? Which I need to rewatch those films, because I'm now going to meet Andy Serkis at Wales Comic Con.
Oh, stop flexing on me!
For that.
Stop flexing.
No, I'm so excited for that.
Stop flexing on me, bro.
I got my Twitch paycheck in and immediately went, Andy Serkis autograph done. Bought. It was literally like 7 left when I bought it, so I grabbed one.
Nice.
I get a photo as well, but they're very expensive to get a photo and an autograph. So I went, no autograph, and I'll try and sneak a selfie while I'm with him, because sometimes they let you do that. Like I'll just try and do that instead.
Good luck.
But I love that Planet of the Apes trilogy, so I'm going to rewatch those in the next week or two.
Very good.
Those films are, as Martin Scorsese would say, cinema. They are cinema.
Tastes like chicken.
You've dabbled with apes. Now meet the genuine article. I might have to do that every week now and make a different version of it.
Podcast jokes. Recurring
podcast jokes are great.
Literally, fuel
Paul's
my life.
laughing at them behind the scenes, isn't he? You know, speaking of recurring podcast
he's having a good time.
Paul's chuckling.
Intern.
You know,
he's doing well.
Actually, I got confused for a second. Then it looked like there was something on your bed that was moving when you turned around, and I was like, "What is that?
Don't
is that
say
Paul?
things like that.
Is that Paul? It's like kind of got a beige colour to it. It looks like a pillow almost, I think, but I don't know.
If Paul is in my bed, then I have more questions.
You're gonna have a crazy night.
Than answers. Then I have one crazy night ahead of myself.
You got one crazy night ahead of yourself with Paul, mate. You're gonna stay up in bed all night and talk about Doctor Who cliffhangers and be like, all right, Paul, what was your favourite cliffhanger?
I'll tell you next week what Paul's favourite Doctor Who cliffhanger is.
That sounds very exciting. But speaking of next week, that's about time for us to wrap it up.
Oh,
I think we might be a bit under the hour timer this time.
I think we're good.
It makes it easier for me to edit, so I'm gonna end it here, because it probably takes about 5 minutes to do an outro anyway, because we just keep talking. We don't stop. We never stop talking.
Up.
It's our problem. It is our problem, you know. But you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, exactly. It's not my problem. It's all your problem. It's all your fault. But thank you all very much, as always, for watching on YouTube and on Spotify. Again, let us know. Basically, if you don't, because I know obviously there's a good amount of people listening to the podcast right now, but we don't get tons of responses on Q&As and stuff. So I won't ask people to say if it's fine, because I'm not expecting loads of people to do that. If anyone has a problem and doesn't like the video version on Spotify, let us know in that case. It's easier to deal with that way, because I'm expecting 100%. That no one will have a problem with it, and we'll just keep it as a video on Spotify as well. I think it's cool to have that option on Spotify. I really like it. And since there's no data problems, like I mentioned with the settings earlier, you should be all good. So thank you for watching on YouTube and Spotify. And thank you for listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and anything else you can find the podcast on. And we're going to do super fast so we can do runtime, because I'm trained to be the scat man. Yeah, exactly. I'm a scat man, you know. So,
beautiful.
As always, you can hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Who's There DW. Let us know any Q&A questions you've got for us. We will answer probably any of the missing questions now. Have a look at some quizzes next week. Just have a more chill, laid-back episode, because we put so much effort into these episodes already as it is. It's so strenuous. It's so strenuous.
I know.
But yeah, so we'll be back next week with our little quiz episode and all the Q&As and things. And then after that, we'll watch the TV movie for the first time. Well, first time for Crispy, not the first time for me.
I'm so excited.
But we're going to watch that together. And then after that, we're going to have the Wales Comic Con special talking about meeting David Tennant and Catherine Tate and Paul McGann and David Bradley. It's going to be a great time. Okay, we're going to have another Comic-Con episode, and in that episode we will fit in meeting other people that we were planning to do last time. We're going to fit it in this time, make sure that we do have time for it.
With Jodie.
So you can talk about meeting Capaldi, I can talk about meeting Alex Kingston and John Bishop, you can talk about meeting Capaldi again, because it'll still annoy me, and you just do it over and over again, but you met
I think that might take the hour, mate. That might take the
That will take the hour.
The rest of them.
And then we've got plans after that. We actually have more plans after that. We've got episodes coming out of our ears. Podcast with a plan. So the plan now is for us to shut up so I can edit this and get it done quicker without having to spend ages in editing, which I no doubt will anyway, because I spend so much time editing these and it's painful, but it's worth it because you all enjoy it.
It's worth it. And we love you, and I appreciate you, Troy.
Worth it. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you. But shout out to all of you that watch and listen to this podcast. We really do appreciate you. And we will be back next Saturday in episode 6 of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, where we'll answer your questions and do some fun Doctor Who quizzes. It's a nice little chill episode. So I hope to see you next week for that. Until then, thank you all very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Oi, Troy, what does Doctor Who eat with their pizza?
Mate, I just said goodbye.
No.
Really?
This is joke time. It's joke time. What does Doctor Who eat with their pizza?
I said goodbye.
What does Doctor Who eat with their pizza?
Oh, I don't want to know this. Go on.
Dalek bread.
It's literally the joke I made last week.
I know.
It's literally. It's we're gone. Goodbye everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.